Hello everyone, welcome to Medimos. Today our topic is anatomy of eyeball. Today we will learn about what are the wall of eyeball and what are the structure inside the eyeball. First, we will study about the wall of eyeball, and when we talk about eyeball, it has three layers. It has three components. The outermost layer of the eyeball is the protective layer. The protective layer are consist of two important structure. Our number one structure is sclera, the whitest part of the eyeball, and second structure is anterior most part of the outer layer. This is known as cornea, which is basically transparent. It works to protect eye from outer side. It start from here to here. You can see it. It is here to here. This is sclera. It is very tough membrane, and here to here, this is the transparent part of the outermost layer. It is known as cornea. Inside the outermost layer, there is a highly vascular layer. You can see it. It is very vascular, which brings the nutrition here, and this layer is also known as uval tract. We'll talk about this in our next video. This is also divided into two parts. The posterior part is known as choroid. We call it choroid. And there is one part where choroid move forward, it become thickened. Here you can see it is thickened, and this thickened part is known as ciliary body. This is ciliary body, and in the middle of ciliary body there is an vascular diaphragm which is known as iris. Here you can see it is very vascular. We also study outer layer as our outer coat of eyeball. Now we are talking about what is the coat of eyeball, the outer coat. And this outer coat have two components. The posterior 5/6 of the eyeball, which is tough and opaque, is known as sclera. Here you can see this is 5/6 part of the outermost layer, and this is sclera. And the anterior 1/5 part of outer coat is known as cornea, which is basically transparent, as you know. Then we study about middle coat, which we also call vascular coat or nutritive coat, which brings nutrition to our eye. That's why we call it nutritive coat. It is posterior area, and its posterior area is called choroid. As you can see, this vascular part and its posterior area is called choroid, and anterior triangular area, which is anterior of the choroid, which is thickened, is called ciliary body. Here you can say this is ciliary body, and after this a diaphragm like a structure, as we see it is iris. This is very vascular, and there is a hole or aperture inside it. From there light passes through. We will talk about this when we study detail our iris. And now this is the innermost layer, the third layer, the most important layer, is known as retina. It is the innermost coat or layer. It has lots of rods and cone cells and a lot of nerve. It have two main parts. The outer part of the retina is very pigmented. It is also known as pigmented layer, just because it is very pigmented. And other part is called neural layer. As you can see, the first part here it is pigmented, that's why we call it pigmented layer. And another part, this is neural layer, and our both layer is the part of retina. Outer layer of retina has not the rod and cone cells. The pigmented layer does not have rod and cone cell. The rod and cone cells are basically the light receptor. When we study retina, we will talk about that. The pigmented layer are continued to posterior of ciliary muscle. Here you can see our pigmented layer is continued to posterior surface of ciliary muscles, and the behind of iris, which is very vascular, and the behind of the iris it is continued. It is very thin part of neural layer, not the whole neural layer is continued, and it does not contain rod and cone cells. And this is the point where rod and cone cell are terminated. After that part of retina, it is not sensitive to light. This part of retina are not sensitive to light. Let's talk about content inside of eyeball. What is inside of eyeball? Here is the structure of lens. As you can see, this is the lens. This is the transparent disc which let the light pass and help the light to focus properly on the retina. Lens are attached to the ciliary body. Here you can see lens are attached to ciliary body through a special ligament. It attached to ciliary body through a special ligament which is called elastic fiber. Here you can see these are elastic fiber which hold and adjust the lens focus power. It hold and adjust focus power which is called suspensory ligament. Here you can see it is called suspensory ligament. We also known as it zonules. So the posterior of the lens there is a special gel-like material. Here you can see this is the posterior part of lens, and here the gel-like material, and this gel-like material filled inside, and it is known as vitreous humor. This gel-like structure known as vitreous humor. We also called it vitreous body. Vitreous humor and vitreous body. These both are same thing. And the anterior of lens. This is the anterior part of lens. It is filled with the fluid is called aqueous humor. Here you can see anterior part. It is filled with the aqueous humor. Now we talk about the light passes through. When light entered in the eye, it first have to pass through cornea, then aqueous humor, then pupil, and then lens, then it is vitreous humor or vitreous body, and then it fall on the retina, and it convert into action potential, and it go through the optic nerve and to the nervous system. When we study about visual pathway, we'll talk about it detail in our next topic. So here it was the full anatomy of eye.